between Bone Hollow Drive and Chandler Road, okay? Horsey Church Road between Bone Hollow Drive and Chandler Road. Late-breaking accident through there. Otherwise, looking pretty good on the majorettes, 13, 113 and Route 1. Moving on through, a little heavy volume in Millsboro, as we tend to see, and looks good otherwise on Route 1 from Fenwick to Bethany to Rehoboth and Lewis. Worcester County, Ocean City, northbound coastal highway between 33rd and 45th Street. Left lane's blocked for milling and paving. Right lane's getting by. Looks okay in Wycomico County. 50 from Willards to Pittsville to Parsonsburg. Business 50 and Business 13 in town. Usual crowd. Bypass around town moving, and 50 good to the Bay Bridge. That's your traffic for the Voice Radio Network.
All right, 8:26. It is the Bill and Jessica Show. We want to welcome live in studio Nathan and Dawn from Delmarva Health through CBD in Berlin. Good morning.
Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in. How are you guys doing today?
Doing wonderful. Had some coffee and nice and ready to.
Yes,
Good,
absolutely.
good.
Of course, we are live on our official Power Facebook page. Head on over, check us out, share the video. And I'm holding up this bag here. Rise and Grind Columbia Supreme from Delmarva Health through CBD, the official coffee inside the Bill and Jessica Show. So
This is like
you guys.
a perfect stocking stuffer.
Yes. Man, look, this is like a perfect time.
For the holiday.
Have you guys started your Christmas shopping yet? You guys can come on by Delmarva Health through CBD and get hooked up, right?
Yeah.
So, very good. Here, I think you probably loosened that up. You probably got to
one?
tighten it back up again.
Okay.
Yes. It's all good. It's
There
all
you
good.
go.
All right. So we have Nathan and Dawn. For people who don't know anything about Delmarva Health through CBD, tell us all about, exactly what you do. Tell us about your store and, what exactly we can get inside your store.
Okay. So we got started about 3 years ago when I started to take CBD for myself. It helped me with pain and inflammation, helped me sleep. And I realized that these products could help a lot of people, not just me. Mm-hmm. But there wasn't a shop that I really liked out there. There's been a lot of CBD shops. There's more now. And I wanted to do something a little bit different than everybody else. So we're set up not like a dispensary or a vape store or smoke shop, but more like, even though we are not doctors or a pharmacist, it's more of a semi-professional waiting room like a pharmacist. Okay. And there's different products in there for different things. They're all cannabis related. I think right now we're over a dozen products. Everything from the usual reason people come in would be anxiety, then sleep issues, and then pain issues, inflammation related. There's also all kinds of interesting little solutions that we've had show up at the store. People with autism, ADHD, restless leg syndrome, torn rotator cuffs, problems in their shoulders or knees, all kinds of issues.
And your products have helped.
Now, it's not...
According to them.
Yes. And it's not a snake oil, so this isn't a miracle cure for everything.
Right.
But it's a better cure than a lot of prescription-type drugs because there's a lot less side effects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's important, and especially for older people like, my parents' age. They're on a half a dozen, sometimes a dozen different kinds of prescriptions. All these conflict with each other, have side effects. You don't really have that with CBD, with possibly two exceptions at large doses, which would be epilepsy, because we don't want you to start having grand mal seizures or, those kind of issues, and strong blood thinners. So the usual thing is that if a doctor says, hey, you shouldn't eat grapefruit because you're on a very strong blood thinner, then you should talk to your doctor first, of course, just like you should do with most of these things. But there, the danger is, you might bleed out or clot, and we don't want that.
Right.
But once again, these are small cases at large doses of CBD, like 1,500 milligrams a day or more. Mm-hmm. And that's a large dose that most people, myself included, are not going to take. Like, I can't tell you when I've had that much.
Now, you talk about, you said you're cannabis related. So for people who don't know anything about, CBD or, CBG, if someone, is hearing this and was like, well, I mean, obviously everything you sell is legal. But if people come to you and is like, okay, tell me, what do you mean cannabis related, and what is your product? What is CBD? Can you give me like the simple, stupid answer that
Sure.
people wouldn't know?
So, all right, here we go. what we all know in America as cannabis is related to two plants, cannabis sativa, cannabis indica. Most people would recognize these from the THC side of things. Everybody knows this cannabis as Delta-9 THC. That is true. However, cannabis is a very complex plant, and it has over 120 cannabinoids right now. So a cannabinoid is something like CBD, Delta-9 THC, Delta-8 THC, CBN, CBG, CBC, THCO, HHC, THCB, and there's more and more. So this plant is currently split into two groups. Okay, so we have cannabis, which would be above 0.3% Delta-9 THC. This is what you would be getting at a dispensary. And
Okay.
This is what's regulated. Now,
So that's weed.
that's weed
Okay,
for everybody out there. Okay, so that's weed. When you come into the store and you say, "Hey, I want weed," okay, that's appropriately called Delta-9 THC, and that's the name of the chemical compound that we all know as cannabis.
But obviously, they can't get that at your store. You can't just come in and buy weed at your store.
Well,
Hemp derived.
okay, so the other part is that cannabis is 0.3% or more and is non-hemp derived. The line in the sand is that if the plant has less than 0.3%, a third of 1%
Right.
of Delta-9 THC, that is hemp, which we all know the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, hemp rope. They make hempcrete for concrete for buildings. It's a crazy thing. It can be used for all kinds of stuff. Cannabis is more than that and is not hemp. It's defined as cannabis. So for us, the products that we have that are THC related, cannabis related, are made from CBD, what's called hemp derived. CBD is hemp. We start off with CBD, and then there's some chemistry that can go into change CBD into things like Delta-8 or Delta-9. But that is the legal definition, that hemp is 0.3% or less, and products made from it are hemp derived. So
So the products that you sell, basically, for just to help people understand a little bit, have less of the cannabis in them than at a like a regular dispensary would be,
Yes.
where you can just go buy straight weed and has a lot more
Right.
in them. So yours are just less.
Right. So what we can sell that is Delta-9 are gummies, because the law says it's got to be less than 0.3% by dry weight.
Gotcha.
So with a gummy, if you have a bigger gummy, you can put 10 milligrams of Delta-9 in it. And this is happening not just in this state, but it's all across the nation. These are products that you used to see only in recreational sites in other states.
Okay.
The laws kind of changed a little bit, but it has to be hemp derived. So for Delta-9 products, you can come into our store and you can buy gummies, you can buy drinks, but you cannot buy vapes because the percentage is too high.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
So speaking of vapes and what we have, CBD is a drug because it went through clinical trials of a company called GW Pharmaceuticals out of England. They made a drug called Epidiolex for kids that have intractable epilepsy. So
Okay.
it went through all the trials. That's why CBD is a drug. Delta-9 THC is a drug because it's been for a long time put on the federal list of illegal drugs. So those two things are drugs. All the other cannabis products in the store are not drugs.
Okay.
So they're not regulated. So getting back to vapes, so in case I don't lose anybody, you can't come into the store and buy a Delta-9 vape, but you can come buy a Delta-8 vape, you can buy a HHC vape, you can buy a THCB vape, and all
Okay.
these things are very similar. Think about a bunch of cousins. They all kind of look the same. Freckles are in different places. This guy's kind of a jerk. That kind's nice. They're slight.
Right,
We all got
right.
cousins like that. You
Right.
know?
So you can come in your store. Obviously, you have the coffee, and then you have certain kind of vapes,
Mm-hmm.
and then you also have you mentioned drinks. Tell us about some of the drinks you can buy.
Okay, so drinks are the fastest growing segment in the cannabis industry right now, and there's a good reason for it. One of the reasons is that people that traditionally would vape or smoke might not want to because of health issues. Maybe they quit smoking. So drinks are a big thing, and we've been carrying drinks for at least a year, maybe 2 years by now. We started off with CBD drinks, like the one that you had.
Yes.
And
by the way, I did have it, and it was a flavored water, and it tasted just like flavored water I would get at Walmart.
Yeah,
I mean, it's nothing like you're drinking a beer or nothing.
Right.
Yeah,
it's a little sweet. There's different flavors, like what we carry. Orange grapefruit, black cherry, peach honey, strawberry lavender. They're nice. They're refreshing. A lot of times it's kind of funny. I laugh because moms on the way to pick up the kids from school will stop in and grab a drink on the way.
Sparkling water.
I love it. I love it.
And then that way they don't have to share when they pick up the kids.
Yeah,
because the kids steal it. So that's where we started. We also started off with CBD infused water.
Okay.
It's just a half a liter of water. It's also alkaline, which some people say has relations to cancer. I don't know. I can't speak on that because I'm not a doctor. But I can tell you, which the next question is, it tastes just like water.
Yeah, and it does, and it's very smooth. And like I said, it tastes like a flavored water that you would get anywhere.
Right. So we started off with those kinds of drinks. Now we also have drinks with THC, a slight amount, and CBD. Very nice. This one I found in Orlando. I was at a expo just last month. It tastes like a Sprite.
Okay.
This is not a strong drink in terms of THC. This is not something that you're going to be on the couch with all night. This is something that would be, for most people, on the strength of a light beer to a glass of wine.
Okay.
So you're going to enjoy it, but you're not going to be incapacitated by it.
Yeah, and you're just comparing that to a light beer or a glass of wine, but it's really, I mean, it's not alcohol. It's not going to make you feel like you're drinking alcohol. This is not going to be like, it tastes like a beer. I mean, this is really, like you said, it tastes like a Sprite. Drink it, and I mean, obviously, it does have the CBD and the THC. What kind of things do people come in the store and say to you as far as, you know what, I don't know. I have anxiety. I want to relax. I need some help with it, because you're real strong on helping people rather than just selling them a bunch of CBD products to feel good. You know what I'm saying? Like
You want it to work specifically.
You're big. That's why you even call yourself Delmarva Health. You know, so you're big on, like you said, that whole pharmacy atmosphere. So tell us, like what people say to you when they come in the store.
So people come in a lot of times for anxiety, and they'll say, there's certain groups of teenage parents come in. Hey, my teenage daughter is anxious. The mom's anxious. We're all anxious a little bit. It's a normal reaction, especially with everything that's going on in life. So the simplest thing would be a CBD oil without THC. Then there's also gummies.
Now, what do you mean in oil? How does that work?
It's what's called a tincture. So basically, it's a flavored, usually oil, and you just drop it under your tongue.
Okay.
Okay. Oh. So like for anxiety, the lemon flavored one is usually the one that people go to. The reason for that is because it's flavored with a terpene, which is kind of like an essential oil for you guys out there. Limonene, which is very good for anxiety. Reflux, acid reflux, these kinds of things.
Okay.
And in general, people that have anxiety, for the most part, should stay away from the THC or just take a little bit. So like when we were talking about the drink over there, that is a 5-to-1 ratio of CBD to THC. So basically, you usually see this in dispensaries, but a 1-to-1 ratio of CBD to THC is good for like pain issues. And then for the people that are anxious, what we want to do is we want to give them more CBD than THC. Okay, so yes, they might feel something from the THC, but they're not going to freak out about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right? And this is an advantage over traditional like antidepressants, SSRIs. I was on them, so I can tell you how I feel about them. There you get on them, and the side effect is it makes you anxious, which is the reason you took it in the first place.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
So here we kind of steer you through all these choices because not everybody knows. And the only way to truly know is to take them. You can't take everything that's written online as gospel because you got to look at who's writing the article and what they're trying to sell you.
Okay.
I want to sell you something that will help you in the store. I don't want to sell you the most expensive thing. I don't want to sell you a bunch of stuff. I want to try and get you into this off prescription drugs, and then hopefully out of my store.
Right.
Because I win and you win when you come in and you get help and you live your better life, and then you go out and tell everybody and your family, your neighbors, the guy down the street, and then I get more customers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm here to tell you that, the coffee that we drink, and I've had this quite a few times, this Rise and Grind Columbia Supreme Coffee with the CBG and CBD. We love it. It tastes great, and it does, it relaxed me, especially the first time I had it,
He needs it.
No, I loved it. I have a problem with getting myself worked up and overthinking and stressing things. So if I came to you, other than the coffee, because it's coffee. So if I came to you and I said, okay, look, I have this problem, which, I need to work on or whatever, but, what products would you recommend for me?
Okay.
Because I actually almost came in yesterday and said that, but and I am going to come in your store. But go ahead.
So, in general, for people that have anxiety, the tinctures are a good way to get started. There's a small amount of people that it just feels weird for. It's usually really older people. There's all kinds of things. There's gel caps. There's tinctures. There are gummies of all flavors, like the CBD gummies right now in the store. There's berry wedges. There's peach slices, there's watermelon slices, there's something else. Peach is my favorite. And a lot of these products here, especially like the coffee, are done with newer delivery systems. So what happens is CBD is an oil that gets extracted from the flower and then processed. There are ways to take that oil and make it water soluble, which, like for instance, we've been talking about the drinks and the coffee. This is an example. They can also do this with gummies. The nice thing about water-soluble products is it's a better delivery system. You're going to wait half the time to get the response, and it's going to be 4 or 5 times stronger because it's easier for our bodies to absorb water-soluble products than fat-soluble products. So that's a better way that you're not going to see everywhere. It has to be done in a lab. The tolerances are almost pharmaceutical grade, so we can give you a consistent product that works good and works quick. And the nice thing also about that is you can take 5 times less. So the chances of it interfering with prescription stuff, medicine, is almost nil. But this has to be done in a lab with clean rooms, and this isn't the products that we make, which right now there's 4 of them, are made in labs and not at home, not by us.
Okay.
Because I don't have like $100,000 to just use for test equipment.
Yeah.
And then you
you are a locally owned company.
Right.
You do great. And obviously we support local. We love your local business. So tell me again, what are you going to tell me to get?
I'm going to tell you to get some gummies.
Some
Oils
gummies.
and
That's
gummies.
it. No, that's it. All right. Look, we got to take a break. We're going to come right back. We're going to talk more with Nathan and Dawn, Delmarva Health through CBD. If people want to look you up, you got a Facebook website?
There's a Facebook, there's an Instagram, Google My Business, all those places. Most of the products are on all those. Ours are on there. You can send us messages. There's a lot of ways. You can call us.
I'm telling you guys, drink this coffee. We got more coming up with Nathan and Dawn. It's 8:43.
We have tickets